Hi guys, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at some of the Chinese stocks listed in the US. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you're greatly help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with Alibaba or BABA. So you can see that after Alibaba broke down at 61.8%, it critical support at 107. We immediately saw the 50% at 101.92 being tested. In fact, we closed the week just above it, even though we broke it intraday. And the next support to watch will be 96.28 and also 89.30 as potential supports for Alibaba. In the event that all were to break, then 78.01 is a potential double bottom for Alibaba. At the same time, you can see that it's currently looking at some cloud support. So on the way down, the cloud will act as a support, while on the way up, the cloud will act as a resistance. So now it's acting as a support. And essentially, it's very much like the last support for Alibaba. So the resistance to watch will be this blue conversion line and this red baseline, which is currently at 111. So if we can break out above these 111 levels, then that would be a good sign for Alibaba. Let's move on to Tencent. So Tencent, as you can see, it's very weak. In fact, you can see from the previous low of 37.92, the previous high of 52.95, we are already at this last support at 41.47. And you can see that it bounced off here a couple of times. So if we do break down, then it's likely for us to head back towards 37.92. And assuming that the $40 psychological support were to break down. The key resistance to clear will be this blue conversion line at 43 and also this red baseline at 46. Not forgetting on the way up, the cloud will act as a resistance as well. Let's move on to NetEase. So NetEase still looking very weak. In fact, you can see that 38.2% was already tested. So you can see that there were some buyers coming in here. And just last Friday, there were also some buyers stepping in at this 38.2% at $83. So if we do break down $80 psychological support, then we're looking towards 78.10 or even potentially 68.92. Resistance to clear will be $88 at this blue conversion line and also this red baseline at $96. Let's move on to NIO. So NIO is holding pretty well at this 61.8%, 1956. You can see that it is also holding this red baseline as well, at currently at $20 psychological support levels. And the resistance to clear will be 21.61, which is this blue conversion line. It's holding pretty tightly. So if we do break down, then 18.05 and 16.55 as a potential supports for NIO. There is also some cloud support around this level. So 16.55 to $18 should hold NIO pretty well in the event that we were to slide down next week. Let's see JD. So JD, if you look at the Fibonacci, you can see that 61.8% is essentially holding well. If we break down, then 57, 56, and even $55 as a potential testing for JD.com. There is also cloud support here, and the key resistance to clear next week, if possible, would be around $61, $62, where this blue conversion line and red baseline coincides. Let's move on to Baidu. So as you can see, Baidu is a very classic example of it bouncing off this 61.8%. You can see that Friday, it actually touched it at around 135.75, and then it closed up above the $140 psychological resistance. So the two key resistance to clear will be 143 and also 146. If we will break down further, then 130 and also 122 are the potential supports for Baidu. There is also a cloud support here, so hopefully the cloud will not break down so quickly. Let's move on to PDD. So PDD, very similar situation. You can see that it's around 61.8% for the 431. We break down the $50 psychological support, then we're looking at 49.86 and even 45.41. The resistance to clear is around $59 to $60 psychological resistance. Let's move on to KWEB. So KWEB, similar situation to Alibaba. 50% at $29 is essentially last support. Looking at the last support around the cloud support levels, if we break down further, then 27.78 and even 26.23 as the potential support. For the resistance to clear will be this red baseline and this blue conversion line, currently around $30 to $31. Now we have CWEB. So CWEB, you can see is really falling off the cloud support. So that is not really a good sign. In fact, we are really lower than a 50% Fibonacci support. We are at 38.2% and 55.88. So if we break down, then $50 is essentially the last and critical support before looking towards 40.40 as the potential last support. Resistance to clear will be $64 and $67 for CWEB. Lastly, let's end off with FXI. So FXI is equally weak like CWEB. You see 38.2%, 30.50, just above this $30 psychological support. Was closed yesterday or 2 days ago at $31. So we are looking at the cloud support breaking down. So if we do not go above it quickly next week, then we are in trouble. So the resistance to watch will be around $32 at this blue conversion line and red baseline. So overall, the Chinese stocks, at least in the US, are not performing very well. So we will see next week in the event that the cloud support were to hold, or if it were to break down further and more selling pressure were to appear. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.